with big personalities, either you love them or you hate them. I know that there are people who look like me that don't have the ability to go in some of the rooms that I'm in and share some of the messaging that I'm sharing. I know what it's like to be in a space where I'm one of one.
Welcome everyone to another episode of What Drives You. I know I've taken a little bit of time off, but I wanted to come back with a bang. So I am bringing to you today an esteemed guest of mine. We happened to meet randomly. She crashed one of my parties that I was, hosting in San Diego last year. But she's been a great person to kind of connect with and learn from. She is a um, public speaker, a DE&I consultant, culture and engagement strategist, and she's also the host of the Hilariously Unemployed Podcast. I want to introduce everyone to Miss Dana Duckworth, aka the Big Speaker.
Hi, it's the big speaker. Thank you for such a warm welcome. Yes, I did crash your party. My best friend was at that party, and wherever
It's
she was gonna be, I was gonna be.
not. It's okay. It was a very. I'm glad that you were there, and I'm glad that everyone had a great time. There's a lot of networking that's come out of it. I invited one of my friends to that event, and he ended up getting a job
Oh
with someone
wow.
at someone's real estate team. So, a lot of things have come out positively from that event. I'm really glad to be able to kind of sit down and talk to you today as another extension of that positive effect. I know you had your podcast episode with one of my good friends, Matt,
Hmm.
and all of this is all coming together. We're bringing everything full circle and creating content and having great conversations.
Absolutely, absolutely. I enjoyed talking to Matt and was thrilled to be on your podcast as well. It's been a long time coming, so I'm
Yep.
excited to chat with you on what drives you and talk about what drives me, I guess.
Yeah. So the first question I like to ask everyone is, like, what is your story? What kind of life events have led to where you are today?
Oh, wow. A lot of them. I mean, my story is that I'm a mom. I had twin boys when I was 20. I was married when I was very young. I got married when I was 18, had my boys when I was 20. My spouse was military, so he was gone some of the time. But overall, we had a great family. Did not work out. So I am a
Mhm.
single mom. Well, I don't really like to say single mom. I'm single. I got kids, but my my children's father is very much involved. So I don't need
Mhm.
anybody stepping in to do anything for them. I'm just out here single in these streets. I'm a dog mom. I have a Yorkie poo, so he is an extension of my children. So I feel like I have three
Mhm.
boys. My career background is really in multifamily housing. I spent a long time as a landlord, as a property manager. So I have over 14 years of experience in that industry within different realms. So I've worked for companies like apartments.com, selling advertising,
Mhm.
Zumper, several companies just always in support of multifamily housing. I
Okay.
really enjoy that space and I've met some of my lifelong friends through being in that career path. Flash forward to now, I am the big speaker. I talk about culture, engagement, strategy, and DEI is a huge passion of mine.
Okay. Awesome. Well, about this, your personality as the big speaker. How did you what sparked your interest in pursuing a career focused on your personality?
Wow. So for a long time, believe this or not, I am a recovering introvert. I did not always present and I was not willing to talk to any and everybody or be on camera. I would never want to hear my voice play back. But what happened was I was working in an organization in their sales department. And then
Hmm.
in 2020, when George Floyd was murdered, of course, that ignited changes in my life, I'm sure for many people. For
Yep.
me, I felt like there had to be something more going on inside of the organization because coming back to work after that murder had occurred and just hearing the conversation kind of being the regular chitter chatter Whereas I was down and out over the weekend crying, explaining this to my children, I felt like there had to be some room for that people that look like myself were feeling inside of that org. So
Hmm.
I like to say that my passion outperformed my profession, and I worked my way out of my sales role within that organization into people operations. I founded their first Black employee resource group, and then I started to oversee all the other employee resource groups that we had there. I worked my way into people operations, focusing on their DEI strategy, culture, and engagement. So, really, that's when I stopped being so introverted because I just felt like I have this voice and there are people who are voiceless. And who am I not to speak up for them? So,
Right.
there was birth the big speaker, and I have not stopped speaking since then.
I would not have taken you for an introvert. Um, I am someone who's always been kind of extroverted, mostly because I was forced to. I moved around a lot as a kid,
Mhm.
and I don't like talking to myself. So I had to interject myself into people's conversations and figure my way around. So I just assumed that you had a very similar background. Your personality definitely shines very brightly in your
Thank you.
as you speak.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
you're welcome. What are some of the challenges that you found, like kind of commodifying your persona and your personal brand?
Oh, challenges. Um, I don't want to sound like this person, but I feel like not everybody loves it. Right? It's like people with big personalities, either you love them or you hate them. And
This is true.
I feel as though sometimes, specifically in the industry that I'm in, there's always been a certain way of doing things, right? There's always been kind of this formula and specific people that look a specific way doing things. And I'm
Hmm.
just like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I'm doing it. So I think anytime you come in and you kind of shake up the status quo, it is going to ruffle a few feathers. And I'm okay with that because I know what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
I think that would be the only challenge. But other than that, my personality has provided me so many opportunities that if I did sit back and be quiet, I would not have received.
Okay. Yeah, the term is you got to crack a few eggs and make an omelet. So,
Yes,
sometimes you got to shake things up a little bit to make some actual change happen and not just lip service.
absolutely.
Um, what kind of drew you to starting your own podcast, the Hilariously Unemployed podcast that I've listened to several episodes of and find it very entertaining.
So I was laid off. So I was laid off last year,
Hmm.
2023. And it was, I got the notice that I was being laid off on my children's birthday. So they were preparing to celebrate their 15th birthday. I find out that I'm being laid off, and it was just a weird space because I'm a girl who, when I'm in the organization, you associate that organization with me. So this
Hmm.
is Dana from whatever company it is, right?
Right.
I really go in and I make a presence for myself. So finding out that information at the end of March, and then they wanted me to stay on to finish out some projects. I was up for a national award at the time. So my actual expiration date, as we say on my podcast, was
Hmm.
June the 30th. So from the 31st of March up until June the 30th, I was working in that organization. And when you find out you're laid off, and you're still working in an organization, things start to get really, really weird really, really quickly.
Hmm.
And you kind of go through this crisis of conscience and trying to figure out, like, how hard do I want to work? What meetings do I want to be in? What should
Right.
I be doing? How should I be spending my time? Should I be logging into this or creating my resume? So in my struggle of trying to figure out my identity through a layoff, because I've always associated myself so heavily with my employer,
Hmm.
I felt like other people probably have been going through similar challenges. And I really just kept thinking, like, how can I help other people? Because this is weird. This
Yeah.
is weird. Like, what can I do to help other people? So that birthed my podcast, Hilariously Unemployed, where I try to help other people through that situation.
Okay. No, that's definitely a very interesting situation to kind of deal with, especially like knowing when you're gonna get fired is
Yeah,
like it's just I don't know, it's just like weird. Like, most times when you're laid off, usually they cut off your access like that day.
immediately. Yeah.
I haven't been laid off myself, but I have survived like 4, 5 rounds of layoffs since I've been at my company.
Yeah.
Um, and it was the first round was if you got the calendar invite for 9 a.m., you were laid off, and you got the calendar invite for 9:15, you were good. But you didn't know. It wasn't
Yeah.
until you got on your call at 9:15 and was like, "Hey, so everyone that was on the 9 o'clock call, they are no longer with us. Their access has been shut off. Their accounts
Yeah.
are, just feel free to reach out to them, give them recommendations on LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff." So I couldn't imagine just doing that and then also sticking around. I did have one friend actually. He got laid off, but his layoff was delayed like 9 months so that he can train the people that was going to replace him. Uh, yeah,
If he would like to be on a podcast called The Hilariously Unemployed and talk about that workplace trauma, I would love to have him.
I'll reach out to him. He's not really one that likes that talks a lot, but uh, I'll reach out to him and see because that was I always
Wild.
like you're just you so when you're leaving, but you're just gonna train him. He's like, yeah, I'll figure out what happens when it comes to the end. So
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you still want that paycheck, so I get it, but
no,
it does something to you emotionally and mentally to be in a space of like, can I give this my all, or should I be focused on what's next?
yeah. Um, so the next question is kind of talking about like your work life balance and such. How do you define achieving a healthy work life balance in today's always on culture?
Oh, my work life balance is not good. Okay, I've been traveling a lot, and for me, I've been trying to strike that balance in my life
Mhm.
between traveling and then being home and also working when I'm home and making sure that I'm super present for my children and my dog and the rest of my extended family who requires as much time and as much attention and not alone to try to date, which is like not even feasible, honestly, at this time. So I would say I have a terrible work-life balance. The only thing that I am really good at making sure I do is go to the gym. Um, and it has definitely been a struggle because a lot of my bookings have been taking me to other places
Mhm.
multiple times in a month. So I do struggle with it, but I find that if I'm present when I am in whatever space I am in, I make a lasting impact until I can get back to it. So my kids, they're always good. They're
Yeah,
16-year-old boys, so it's not much that they want to do with me anyway. At
yeah. At that point,
that
they're just like,
age.
"All right, mom,
Yeah, they
leave
just
us some
kind of
people
like me
money."
to be around and in the house, but it's not
Yeah,
really that they're requiring anything of me. And then when I am away, they know that I'm focused on work and I'm locked in so that I can get back to them. So
yeah,
I say it's a struggle, but it's working. It's working until it's not.
yeah. Okay. Um, One of my favorite questions I like to ask because it kind of helps me decide, or it kind of helps me learn how people define this. But what is it that makes you successful?
What does make me successful? I think it's passion. I really think it's passion. When I believe in something, I am going to influence everybody around me about that thing. So when I'm truly bought into something, I see the value of something, I understand the mission and what it is, I am constantly driving towards that thing. So it helps me to gain buy-in, and that
Mhm.
has really helped me. So think about it. I've been in a career where I was a property manager or leasing. So you have to influence people to want to stay in your community. You have to be able to take care of your employees so that you have that retention with them. And then I move into a supplier partner role where I'm selling advertising. So I'm always trying to influence someone that I have the best product and this is going to be great for you. And I'm offering the solutions. Now, flash forward to me having my own business and my brand. I'm asking you to be bought into me as a person and what it is that my message is. So I have to say influence and passion. If I'm not passionate about something, I can't sell it to you. I can't tell you that this is going to be good. I can't ask you to follow me. And I can't tell you that this is the way if I don't truly believe.
Okay. Speaking of passion, like what is it that drives you? Like, what is it that makes you get up every morning and do what you do, being the big speaker?
Um, because I know that there are people who look like me that don't have the ability to go in some of the rooms that I'm in and share some of the messaging that I'm sharing. I know what it's like to be in a space where I'm one of one, where I haven't felt included, like the culture was a little toxic there, or I felt like there were things, microaggressions and things happening to me daily where I just did not feel good. And
Mhm.
that really motivates me to go out and continue to talk to organizations and spread my message. My tagline is the key to inclusion is transparency. So I tell all of my business because I've seen it transform spaces. And
Right.
I want people to feel really, really good. There's no reason why you can't have your profession and also be in a space you're working most of your life where you feel you belong and you are included.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's definitely important. I know me personally. So I didn't know what an ERG was,
Hmm.
despite leading one for more than a year. Um, I found out like I was speaking to the previous president or the previous lead, and she's like, yeah, it's an employee resource group. I was like, or ERG. I was like, what's that? And she was like, it's something that like to help employees in different diasporas and
Hmm.
different racial categories and just different categories trying to put together.
Yeah.
And like I had just been doing it passionately just because I just always felt like that was something that I needed to do.
Hmm.
I went to a HBCU. I'm from an
Hmm.
island that's majority black, so like I super identify as black, and I've always been kind of been comfortable in that. But that hasn't stopped me from being able to be in other spaces and be around, be the only one,
Hmm.
be the token sometimes,
Yeah.
uh, but still be myself. And
Hmm.
so I kind of relate to that where like that passion of just just wanting to help people. Um, I
Hmm.
I like putting people together and trying to connect people and doing those kind of things. Um, it's been something that I've just been naturally good at. Um, over the years and sometimes selfishly, putting stuff together for myself, but I'm
Yeah.
getting better at doing it for other people and just trying to give and give and give. And that's why I started this, this channel. I just
Hmm.
want to highlight other people that I know that I've met that are interesting, doing interesting things, having, interesting lives and, working on interesting projects and stuff like that. A lot of the people that I've interviewed happen to be in real estate, but that's just because of where I work.
Yeah.
Um, but even some of them like aren't necessarily people that are in real estate at my company. They just I've connected with them. We have great conversations about everything else, and then real estate comes up, and we're able
Hmm.
to be friends and communicate that way. So, you know, I I I, I feel your passion, and I think that's kind of what's driving me as well is that passion.
Yeah, that connection. You are a connector for sure.
um, I would like to know, and if there isn't one, then that's fine. But or it's probably going to be your layoff. But like, what is a pivotal moment that kind of changed your life and changed your trajectory?
It would have to be George Floyd's murder, like, because
Mm,
that kicked off everything. I mean, my layoff was something that definitely changed my life and forced me to launch my brand. But I
yeah,
would not have a brand and I would not be speaking to the things that I am had that not happened.
mm,
Unfortunately, it was just something that ignited a fire in me. And I was like, yo, this is insane. Why
yeah,
are we not talking about it? And not only is that insane, but the way people are treated, Black people are treated, is not okay. And like, what can I do to change that? So I really think that was a period in time for me where it was just like, no more just coming in and getting a paycheck and doing sales. Like, no, you have a voice, you have a calling, you can be doing something more for people.
yeah. No, that I think by that point, when George Floyd happened, it wasn't a pivotal point for me,
Hmm.
only because I felt like it's just trauma porn.
Hmm.
Like it's just so much black trauma that's kind of advertised and kind of
Hmm.
broadcast. And so I kind of got like by that point I was kind of like just numb to it.
Yeah.
Now, um,
Unfortunately, yeah.
and which is it's really sad that that's happened because it was like Sandra Bland was before that and
Hmm.
Trayvon Martin and
Hmm.
um, uh, Tamir Rice and just so many different instances of this kind of situation happening and just things just kind of going awry.
Yeah.
um, that it didn't really affect me that way. But one of the things that I did see that happen at my company that I wasn't expecting at any kind of corporate company is we started having conversations about race.
Yeah.
And on like a national, like it was a Zoom call, but it was people from all over the different parts of the country. There was a whole like series about it. It was a white sales manager that kind of initiated it, but he was bringing on his black agents and having them kind of share their experiences, and just finding out just how many people across the country were experiencing similar situations that they wouldn't that they often feel isolated in,
Mm-hmm.
but realizing that it happens more often than not, like a realtor having the police called on them as they're trying to show a property,
Yeah.
um, or a white realtor saying that she was openly trying to break into a house because she saw that it had a for sale sign on it and she wanted to take a look inside. Like it was, there's a lot of different. It was some very
Yeah.
interesting conversations, but just the fact that we were able to have those conversations kind of solidified it for me that I could be myself
Mm-hmm.
at work. I can lead Black Encompass and be okay. Um, still feel confident that like I can say stuff that we need to have and need to make changes on, and not feel like that's gonna cost me my career because we'll be able to have these conversations and be a little bit more open. And
Correct.
I'm just trying to create that space for for our agents and staff members because, like I said, a lot of times a lot of people feel isolated. They're in their office, they might be the only one,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or the only one that they see because the others are scattered between different teams and stuff like that. And so we're just trying to encourage people to getting together. That's why we did the event in San Diego last year.
Yeah.
That was like 150 people that
Mm-hmm.
didn't even realize there was that many of us together, and that's only a fraction of the entire population.
Mm-hmm.
We got some more stuff planned for this year, trying to get more people together, um, more conversations, more discussions, and with Juneteenth coming up, that's going to be a big uh,
Yeah.
something that we're doing there, and just trying to do more because just being together and having that community, especially in those spaces where you do feel isolated, I think is very important, and it's just something that I'm trying to build for myself here. And now that I'm in a new city in Charlotte and just making new friends and making new connections and trying to put my roots down here. And you know, when I first got here, I complained, "Oh, this place isn't this and da 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 da." And then I realized that like if I can either complain about it or I can do it myself.
Yeah.
I can make something happen. I can
Mm-hmm.
make these connections. And so now I call it the R.L. Stein of cities. Choose your own adventure. It's like
Correct.
a Goosebumps book. So, and so just trying to do whatever I can to build and continue to build a network and, like I said, make unique connections. Now, this show is called "What Drives You."
Mm-hmm.
So I have to ask this question: if money were no object,
Mm.
you didn't have any responsibilities, you don't got to worry about your sons fitting in the car.
Uh-huh.
What would be your dream car?
I would have a GV80, a Genesis GV80. Okay. This is on
Okay.
my vision board as of this year. I want it in all white. It is such
Mm,
a gorgeous car. My kids would be able to fit in there. Um, it is just so beautiful and
yeah.
I'm obsessed with it. Is it expensive? Yes. But I'm working real hard. So hopefully one day I'll be able to have that. But they are beautiful.
No, that is a very beautiful car. It makes you forget that it's a Hyundai, but it's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a like I saw it at a car show, and just like it's very luxurious inside. It feels like you're
Mm-hmm.
stepping into something um, of equal value, but it has a bigger name like a Mercedes or BMW
Yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
but still
Mm-hmm.
having like it's just its own unique feel. So no,
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. I love that. I love that car for you.
Me too.
um, Okay, a couple more questions that because I like this conversation and I want to keep it going. Um, what are some of your strategies for unplugging from work and making time for your priorities?
Bed, bed. Okay. I will get in my bed at whatever time I have a break to get in my bed. I do a lot during the day, but if there
Hmm.
is a gap, I am going to lay down. Sometimes I just need the sensation of being able to just be still.
Hmm.
The gym is also hugely important to me, my routine, and really staying focused. I have
Okay.
ADHD, so I go to the gym every morning because it really helps my brain kind of turn off a little bit. And I'm
Hmm.
only focused on the music that I'm listening to and the exercises that I'm doing. So
Yeah.
that's really, really important to have for me. So it is rest and also physical exercise.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was recently diagnosed with ADHD. So was my father, and I've kind of always known that I had it, but
Yeah, I
um,
assessed that when we first talked. And I was like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
hello, friend. Where have you been?
exactly. But I've always, so I've always known, and I've tried to do different techniques and stuff. I know during the pandemic when it first started, I started running, and that really
Hmm.
helped me focus.
Hmm.
But then since moving to Charlotte, my whole like just the change and changing of schedules and everything, and kind of threw me off. So I haven't been running as much.
Yeah.
But I do want to get back to it, and I don't know. I got some changes about to happen again this summer that are going to affect some things, but
Hmm.
my plan is to try to get into that routine so that I can, um, unplug and focus a little bit on something
Yeah.
that's healthier
Hmm.
than beer and alcohol. But
Yes. I
the
mean, I
guy
like
is,
those things too, but
I do,
balance.
culturally, like I notice in my family's culture and in the culture from Bermuda. Today's
Hmm.
Bermuda Day too, so a lot of my family
Oh, hey.
are probably drunk right now. But just it's always been a thing to like for the heavy consumption of alcohol and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that it's wrong. Everything is fine in moderation. But I do know that like I need to find better, healthier outlets.
Yeah.
Um, if I want to, if I don't want to have a beer belly and the big old pot belly when I'm 50 and still want to
Listen,
look, still
you
want to
want
look
to take
good.
care of yourself for sure.
Exactly. And so, I'm gonna make it a point to really put fitness back into my uh,
Hmm.
routine because if it's helping you and you
Yeah.
have the same condition, uh, I I know it can help me, and it was helping me pretty well.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
so helpful, man. It just
yeah.
centers you and grounds you. And people with ADHD, we tend to have more addictive personalities. So once we pick up on a thing, we kind of hyperfixate on that thing. So what better
Mhm.
thing to hyperfixate on than exercise? Like
Yeah.
if I don't get to the gym and don't get to work out, people know that they're going to hear about it through the day. Oh my God, I didn't get to go to the gym today. It's because like my brain is so focused on that routine, and
Yeah.
it helps me get through the rest of my day. So I definitely
Yeah.
recommend.
What are some other things that you kind of do to help work with ADHD? Like, and I know fitness is one, but like, walk through your day to day that you do to kind of like really like center and focus.
So some days, it's very chill and I'm able to kind of get. Other days, I recognize that I'm like, oh, girl, you are doing the most and you are all over the place. And sometimes I allow myself to be all over the place and do the most because that's what my brain wants to do. I try
Hmm.
not to be too hard on myself, and
Hmm.
specifically when I procrastinate because that is like a thing for me.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm still able to get everything done with procrastinating just refuels the energy in my brain to be like, procrastinate again.
Yep.
So I think it's noticing and trying to unlearn some of those patterns. And then also like sensory and sensations for me. So I
Mm.
love squishmallows. Those provide me a certain level of comfort. If I'm like too chaotic, or a weighted blanket that makes me feel really good, or hugging my
Mm.
dog or hugging my kids. So just thing throughout my day to either hug a stuffed animal, hug a person, or a dog
Yeah.
really helps me kind of like balance out and feel a little level.
Okay. Well, no, that's definitely. I tried doing some like fidget things,
Hmm.
getting like little fidget toys because I realized that I pick up my phone out of more of habit than a
Yeah.
or like just the fidgety part of having ADHD versus
Hmm.
actually wanting to check something. Like
Hmm.
I deleted social media off my phone this month.
Oh,
Um,
good for you. I am still
and
very addicted and should work
yeah,
on it.
I'm still addicted, but I at least deleted it off my phone so I'm not like on social media scrolling.
Hmm.
But I
Hmm.
still pick up my phone like every 2 seconds just to
Yeah.
like see what notification or something. And it's never anything that's super important.
Hmm.
Like it's usually like Yahoo Finance telling me that the stock is down. Uh, but I still have to like keep like checking and like even like during this conversation, I'm not looking at it, but it's in my peripheral and I touch it and then like okay, we're
Oh
still
my
having a
goodness. So
conversation.
I put my phone on do not disturb a lot as well. This might help
Yeah,
you. So
it is.
like I literally give myself like focus time. If I'm doing
Hmm.
this, I'm putting my phone on do not disturb because I know as soon as the notification comes in, it's like zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah.
So I try to, and even like certain times of night, I'll put my phone on do not disturb, even though I'm on my phone. I don't want my phone telling me what to do and when I need to go to this app or that app.
Yeah.
So even if I'm on there, I'll have it on do not disturb. And I feel like that kind of helps me as a boundary, but
Hmm.
it's hard. Phones are fun. So,
Yeah, and then like also too, I'm trying to curb it because like my kids be on there.
oh,
Like
yeah.
my
Yeah.
daughter loves her iPad, and she'll cry if she can't have it. But she does
Yep.
go outside, so I'm thankful that she likes to play outside. She's not one of those have to be on the tablet all the time.
Listen, as a mom of teenagers, I have gone ahead and like, there's no battle. There is a screen for everything. There is dual monitors. There is
Hmm.
multiple video games, multiple TVs. There's multiple laptops, like there's multiple of everything. And I can't be mad at them because I'm always on the screen as well.
Yep.
I think that more importantly is like the relationship with the technology and knowing when you need to unplug and unwind. So I'm good
Yeah.
for sometimes it'll just be like, I'm tired of looking at screens. And
Yep.
I'll put on a podcast because I still need that stimulus, right? Like I
Hmm.
can't just lay there with an ADHD brain and not do anything. But putting on a podcast or an audiobook will help me kind of have that same stimuli, but I won't be staring at a screen.
Yeah. No, that definitely helps. And like my daughter, she will say like, "Oh, I'm tired of watching my tablet. Can I go outside?" And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm super thankful for it. And then my
Yeah.
son, he has this thing now where he just likes to swipe. Like, so he'll snatch our phone and he'll just be like, and then he's locked out my phone multiple times at this point. Somehow he always knows how to find to get to the emergency call and call my
Oh,
wife, and he'll call her, and like, cause her picture pops up, so he's like,
oh.
and then he'll just stare at the phone and won't say nothing. So,
You need to
you
get
know,
him a
I
digital picture frame or something then.
something he needs something, and he likes watching TV too. We play music. He's really big into soca and the Gracie's Corner.
Oh.
Those are those two songs. Like it will come on, he'll start dancing and moving his little feet
Yeah, Grace's
and jump
Corner
up.
is lit. I like
Yeah.
Grace's Corner, and I don't have any kids remotely close to that age, but I've heard some of the bops, and I like
She got some bops for for a little girl. So we definitely but yeah, I'm definitely trying to curb my phone usage so that I can just encourage my children to do other things. Like
Mhm.
um we have my daughter in gymnastics and everything like that, so she does get away from it.
I
But
love
there are
that.
times where just giving them a tablet, keep them quiet, and
Mhm.
we can get other things done when they're quiet
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
So my last question for this interview is, this one can get kind of deep sometimes. Is what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, what do I want to be remembered for? Um, I think impact. Impact. Who did I touch?
Mm,
Who who did I make things better for? So I think I want that to be my legacy. I want people to be like, oh, because she did this or said that or spoke up about this thing, she in turn made it better for me in this way. So I would like to leave an impact where people remember something I did, something I said, or something I worked towards, help them to not have to go through some of the things that maybe I went through.
okay, well, that's deep.
Hmm.
Um, well, you've impacted me positively. I see all your fitness stuff online, and I'm like, I need to
Come
go
on,
ahead and
come
get to
on.
it. um, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to sit in your car and talk to me about the things that drive you and what motivates you,
Hmm.
because I think it's important, just to get that message out. And I'm looking forward to sharing this, and hopefully someone will comment, like, and subscribe to say that, hey, the Hilariously Unemployed podcast changed my life. as
Yeah,
Dana
let's
on
do it.
what drives you. So yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank you so
Dana.
much for having me. I really appreciate you. This has been
Mhm.
awesome for me as well.